Reason why a guru tells us hold on to one name, hold on to one form, hold on to one guru is very simple. The mind, by its nature, is very fickle. The mind is very prone to distraction. It's very prone to vacillation. It is very prone to the various vicissitudes of life, isn't it? So the whole idea of spirituality, as the father of the yoga system of philosophy, which is Patanjali, says, the entire point of yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, to somehow subdue the constant chattering of the mind. Sarve mano nigraha lakshananta. Whether it is social, secular, religious, spiritual, whatever, the whole idea is to somehow quieten the mind, to reduce its constant chattering, is the whole idea. And we can't allow our own spiritual sadhana or our own spiritual practice to be another cause for the mind to be wavering. And it is when I have 10 namas to chant, obviously 1,000 names of Vishnu, all names are names of Vishnu only. But then, if Mahatma gives you one name, so that even in that, let the mind not constantly be plagued by the choices. Last time we saw, the choices are not freedom. At times, choices are a headache for us. Choices means the mind constantly, maybe I should chant this mantra. So 10 times you chant that mantra. And then the mind will say, no, let me chant that mantra. That's also is nice. And so the whole point is the mind is now getting back to its default state of wavering, even while doing a sadhana whose purpose was to somehow annul the wavering, somehow take care of the wavering. And hence, of course, Maha Mantra or Vasudeva Mantra or Ram Nam or Sri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram, all the names are all great, all spiritual, of the highest Brahman only, of the highest God only. But then, when Guru gives us one name, we need to hold on to that name so that we can use that name to make the mind one-pointed. That if you chant one name again and again and again as a japa, it slowly creates a wonderful rhythm of inner breathing. Inner breathing is flow of prana inside our body. It in turn completely impacts our mind and silences it. And that's the power of the chanting or doing the japa of one name in the proper way. When I say proper way, I mean pronouncing it properly, not too fast, not too slow, paying attention to what we are pronouncing, etc., can bring in a big inner transformation. And so when we have many equal mantras, to us, to me as an individual, all are equal. Hence, I take one because anyway it is equal to others. I see no disparity. I see no ups and downs. I see only what has been picked up for me. You see? And once it is picked up for me, like in the ancient Indian marriages, I wedded to that mantra. Before wedding, all the girls were all equal to a groom, right? But once wedding takes place, that wife becomes somebody very special to the groom, and vice versa. And so, once all the names are same, as a third person, I can say everything is one and the same. But to me as a person, the moment Guru gives me this mantra, it becomes my everything. The whole idea is two things. One is that ego, which is a false sense of I, me, and this nature of the mind, which is wavering, both has to be subdued. And that is the reason why we need to subdue our ego to either a system of knowledge, which is Vedas, or whatever we call it, Shastras, or to a divine deity, which is Bhagavan, or to a divine Mahatma, which is a Guru. All the three are there to only slowly take care of our ego, because that's the number one trouble creator for us when it comes to all this, the grief and the various dukkha of samsara. And so a Guru picks a nama and gives us. And that's enough for me. Everything has been taken care. It's like a mother to me. Whenever I need something, it can give me. At times, I may go to my grandmother and ask some help from the grandmother. Likewise, at times when our parents ask us to chant this mantra also, it helps us in health or whatever. It's perfectly okay. It's a very clear, pointed, short-term sort of a cure for some little malady or a problem we have. And so that's perfectly fine. But then we should have a default of one name, where over time we have to fall in love with that name. That name should be our be-all and end-all. And that name, which is first among equals of all the divine names shown by our Shastras, would shine itself as the final goal of spirituality, of joy, of love, which is the reason why, even though there are n number of names, the name which our Guru gives us, he gives a little bit of his penance also with the name. There is a nice story narrated by our Ramana Maharshi, which our Swamiji has also spoken about. Once a Raja wanted to do a little bit of a mantra, a Vedic mantra. And so he went and asked his mantri, saying that, I think I'm going to chant this mantra from tomorrow. The mantri said that we need to take a formal, initiation from a guru for such mantras. So I don't think I can tell you the mantra. But in a couple of days, he goes to the library and finds the mantra in a book. And he proudly tells the minister, I found the mantra. Now what's your problem? I'm going to chant it. Is there a difference between me, myself, picking a mantra and a guru giving me a mantra? The minister said, of course, there is this difference. And I shall certainly make you understand that at a later point of time. But let's not get into a discussion because you are to come to my home for dinner tomorrow, Maharaja. So let us focus on that. Next day, Maharaja came with his bodyguards. And the minister is the head of all these close Z security of our king. He's the boss of all these people. And the bodyguards are near the king. The minister is on the other side. The king is about to eat when suddenly minister feigned anger and told the bodyguards, arrest this king immediately. No, the bodyguards didn't know what to say. He is a minister whom they report to, but then he is asking us to arrest the king, who is minister's boss. So they were a little unsure. The king laughed. But then the minister went on insisting, arrest the king. After twice or thrice, king became very angry. And then he said, arrest the minister right now. And the bodyguards went and arrested the minister. Immediately the minister, begged for forgiveness and told the king, look here, I also said arrest him. You also said arrest him. But then when I said it didn't work, when you said it worked, the reason being, you are in that state of power more than me. Likewise, some normal persons suggesting chanting name for us to chant, and a Mahatma who is completely soaked in that name asking us to chant is a veil of a difference, you see. And whenever a Mahatma says, you all please chant Mahamantra, he actually unwittingly gives a portion of his penance along with the name in asking us to chant. So we stand a great advantage when a Mahatma tells us to chant a name, instead of us picking up a name out of our own volition or choice. And that name given by the Mahatma, if we have faith, can be a be all and end all. It can fulfill all that we need. It can fulfill more than what we expect. But then, when we actually have that faith in the divine name and chant and pray with that name, it has the power to actually do that. You see? And that is the reason why sticking on to one name, unless there is some very special, requirement, and the requirement is going to be fulfilled by a legitimate means of a mantra shown by our Guru, this chanting or holding on to one name is greatly beneficial. Because the simple example, if you want, is when you dig for water, if you dig 10 feet in 10 places, instead of doing that, if you had focused on digging 100 feet in one place, you would have got water, isn't it? Likewise, one-pointedness is strength in spirituality. That's what ekena manasa, ananya bhakti. So focusing the mind on one name, focusing the mind on one form, focusing our work and focusing our psyche on one guru will hasten our progress. If you ask me, what if I chant Ram Nam sometime, Krishna Nam sometime, Hari Nam sometime? All this will add punyam, or all this will add merits to us, but it won't hasten our spiritual journey. If I go to one Mahatma, have darshan, go to some other Mahatma, have darshan, of course, that will add punyam. But if you want real spiritual progress, if you want real inner transformation, going and visiting sadhus and having satsangas, all that is fine. But only one person can be a guru, because that person will take the total responsibility of our own progress in spirituality. And once we have that one-pointed devotion towards that one Mahatma, that devotion itself will impel the Mahatma to actually hasten our spiritual progress. So that is the beauty of one-pointedness, you see.